Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Wiscasset Board of Selectmen. On behalf of the members of the board, I wish to welcome you here, and we ask that you all join us in pledging allegiance to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Judy Colby couldn't make it here tonight. She has not missed a meeting since I've been here. Be sure that she will be here next week. All right, first thing on the agenda is the approval of the treasurer's warrants, the payroll warrants for June 22nd, June 29th, and July 6th. It's the board's pleasure.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. Accounts payable warrants for June 26th, July 3rd, and July 10th.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Third, approval of minutes, June 14th, 2018.
So moved.
Second. Any other questions or comments? If not, all those in favor?
I'm going to abstain because I wasn't here for the meeting. Or should I go in? Yeah. So I abstain.
All right. Okay. 4, we have no special presentations. 5, committee appointments. Oh, excuse me, thank you. The minutes for June 19th.
Move to accept.
Second.
All those in favor? That is unanimous. We have no special presentations. Fifth on the agenda is committee appointments. William Maloney to the Budget Committee.
So moved.
I'll second it. Thank you for offering your services.
Absolutely.
Very much. All those in favor? It's a vote. 6, public hearing. We have to have a public hearing on the commercial waste haulers permit for Riverside disposal. Can someone make a motion to go into it?
We move that we go into a public hearing at, the time is 6:03 for the purpose of this commercial waste hauler permit for Riverside disposal.
Second.
All those in favor of the motion? Very good. We're in a public hearing. Any questions or comments for the board? None? Any questions or comments from the public?
I'm sorry, that was loud back there, and I didn't hear you. But it is the time for public comment.
We're doing a public hearing on the,
That's what I thought. It's not the time yet.
no, you want the public,
Yes.
yes,
Thank you.
that will be next.
Thank you.
If not, I would entertain a motion to come out of public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Unanimous? All right, I will move that we grant the license for Riverside disposal.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Very good.
This is great.
Now it is public comment. Constance, go first. All right, Richard. All right.
My name is Richard Forrest. I'm on the Waterfront Committee, and I'd like to propose a unique opportunity for the town of Wiscasset. The sloop Providence was the first vessel in the Continental Navy in our Revolution, captained by John Paul Jones, among others. That sloop has been reproduced and is now needing repairs. And the builder and the owners would like to bring it to Wiscasset to conduct those repairs. I have talked with the harbor master, the fishermen, the town manager, and Doug Fowler, the road commissioner, and everyone is positive. The waterfront committee, Chairman Susan Robson, asked me to convey to you that the waterfront committee would be recommending that this be done. And the boat builder is Rob Stevens. He's presently in charge of building the Virginia project in Bath, Maine's first ship. He's built the Snorri, worked on other vessels, including the Sherman Zwicker. And I would like him to explain to you in detail what they're looking at.
Hi, I'm Robert Stevens. I have a boatyard down in Small Point, had it since about 1990. And we do a lot of historical boats, like Dick was saying, the Virginia in Bath, Maine's first ship. But actually, I'm going to turn it over to Leon Poindexter. I worked with him, over the years on all these different projects, and he's a better speaker than I am. And he has pictures.
Those are always good.
We thought we were going to be on the agenda tonight, so I had prepared these folders for you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And there's some more information on page 8 on this magazines here. It shows more of our project.
Please repeat it. Thank you.
Thank you. What happened was that the vessel fell over in a storm in Newport in 2015, and it was holed very badly on the side. And when it fell, all the spars broke off. So the vessel went up for sale, and this organization in Alexandria, Virginia, bought it. And it's a nonprofit organization. They're going to use it for educational and historical, and also open to the public. It's a replica of John Paul Jones's first command, and it was the first ship that was designated to be in the Continental Navy. For the rest of you all, this is the vessel, and yeah, I can pass this around. And this is one of the battles. The Providence captured over 40 vessels during the Revolutionary War. And so, of course, it was a very, very prominent vessel. What we like to do is, after the boat was holed, as you can see from the photographs, she was taken up, we took it up to Gloucester, Massachusetts. And it's a fiberglass hull, so we've already done the fiberglass work. And we've done a big repair on the vessel already with the fiberglass. Meanwhile, the masts and the new spars were being made in Rob's yard in Harvest Island near Pittsburgh. And so now what we need to do is we need to bring the boat and the rig together. And It seems like your site here is just the ideal place for that. It would be, the rig is gonna be about 90 feet tall. It'd be an impressive site, you know, to see, you know, your marina down here. And we understand it's a commercial site, and the work that we're gonna do is, will be fairly low noise. There won't be the intermittent, you know, cutting a piece of wood off here and there. The heavy planing, things like that, we'll do off-site. We'll do in Rob's shop on Harness Island. So we're probably gonna need the space someplace between August and April. But we're willing to, you know, adjust the boat, move it, you know, up according to how the dockage works out, things like that, whatever we need to do. And of course, we're willing to work with you all and making this a mutual benefit to all of us. So that's basically what we're looking for. You got anything to add?
Yeah, just one thing Leon forgot is, what with it being an educational vessel, both Leon and I have done a lot of projects that we get involved with schools, and, you know, we'd be more than happy, you know, if the local schools wanted to come down or have one of us go speak to them. Leon and I do that quite often with all the different projects we do.
It sounds exciting.
It sounds like a really good idea.
I think it's awesome.
So what do we do?
So they're asking permission to use the town dock, so we would need a motion and a vote from the board to allow it from August of 2018 to April of 2019?
Right,
Okay.
It'll be toward the end of April. We have to move the boat up I'm sorry, in May, May. And sometime in May, towards the end of May, we'll be moving it down to Virginia.
Okay, so from August of 2018 to May of 2019.
Would visitors be able to check out the boat?
Pardon?
Would visitors be able to check out the boat, like tourists?
Yes, we can work that out. Of course.
Just look from afar?
Right. I think most of it's going to be construction work on the boat, but, you know, they come down and see what we're doing. There'll be a lot of rigging work going on. There'll be a lot of stuff that would, you know, of course, be visible.
Seems like a good time of year to do it.
Sounds like a win-win situation to me.
I'll make a motion that we allow these folks to use the dock.
I'd be glad to second that.
Any questions or comments from anyone?
Thank you so much. This is awesome.
Thank you.
If not, all those in favor of the motion?
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for the
Okay,
picture.
best of luck.
Yes, you want to keep any of the material?
Yeah, I'll keep one set for the record.
Okay.
Well, they're expensive.
Okay. All right.
They're beautiful. I love the shelter.
Yeah, we need to keep a magazine.
Yeah.
I think I have another magazine too, I can show you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Leon, don't be cheap, let them keep them.
Really, no, you save them, take them to the school. and-
That's what I was gonna say, share it with the school kids.
Whatever, yeah.
Kim can set that all up for you.
You know, I'll keep one sec.
Okay,
I'm in
no,
teaching.
that's
I'll
very
take them.
wonderful.
I'll take them right to
Yeah.
my class.
Okay, great, okay, good.
It's fun to do this and get other people to see. I'll be down. Good, good. Why don't you come over and meet the ship and have a stroll?
Sorry, just kidding.
Oh, you can mention it. Anyone else like to address the board?
Thank you for. I'll be brief, and I have laryngitis, but I also have great concerns about the CLC local ambulance issue. And I'm going to beg you, as I was begging Bob, think hard before you outsource or subcontract essential town services. To me, it's like all the difference between renting and owning your own home. And if you want the control and the influence, then you have to own it. I would have thought we had learned this from the RSU school snafu. That was not your fault, it was Baldacci, but it amounted to the same type of thing. Whitefield didn't listen, you know that. So, in my very limited experience, the only towns where an ambulance makes money are the ones that have a hospital. I'm going to call it a nursing home, but that step down, rehab hospital, whatever you call it, and clusters of several retirement villages. And the runs between there are many, and yet they're fairly easy. It's a control type of thing, but they're lucrative. And those ambulances have advantages that in a town like ours, you don't, or any small town, where you don't know what you're getting into, and it can be very complicated. And not that lucrative because some of them don't pay. In those town I talked about before, you're pretty damn sure Medicare's going to pay. Lastly, I want to say, I don't know what the backstory is, but I was very glad that the refusal to go to Mid-Coast Hospital was brought out into the open. Because if it was your family, and that's where you've been helped, and that's where your doctor is in your medical home, that refusal is unconscionable. And all I can say is, I wouldn't worry too damn much. Charlotte, isn't truth a time-honored defense against libel? So I really wouldn't worry about that. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the board?
Hello again. So, first of all, I just wanted to thank you all for coming out. I'm sorry, Marion, you couldn't join us.
Name?
Okay, could I Wiscasset Gallery?
I know it's only been a couple hours.
Yeah, who are you? All right, so, yes, thank you again for coming along today. And I don't know whether now or perhaps later this evening, while it's fresh in everyone's mind, whether we could continue the conversation a little bit about the conversation that was started earlier. We did for those of you who weren't there, we did a little walk around the village looking at side street parking and trying to see making the best of our situation and really sort of trying to make every parking spot count, which I think is important now that we're losing the storefront parking and some of the side street parking. So anyway, we started the conversation on our little walk, and so I just wanted to encourage the board to continue the conversation and start thinking about, okay, what are we going to, should we put on the agenda for the next meeting and really think this through? Because I think as a town, we really need to have a voice with DOT and with ourselves about how we solve this or move forward. And I would just add that I think it's crucial that representatives from the affected downtown businesses and residents are part of that conversation. That's basically it. But I don't know whether this is the appropriate time for you guys to have a little bit more of a conversation, or later in the meeting.
I think it should be on the agenda.
I feel like it should be on the agenda.
Well, I mean, you certainly have,
We should have
what
a
you're doing right now, you
conversation.
can talk about it at this
Right,
point.
but I think, I sort of shared with you all the thoughts that I've been collecting from the other downtown businesses as we sort of looked at our situation. So I guess I'm sort of handing it over to you all to sort of think about what, is our next step to put it on next meeting's agenda, or are there things that you all still have questions about, based on our little walk today, or?
I think I only have a question about process, because we have the Public Advisory Committee, and they are still meeting, and so, like, we had an informal walk today around town with business owners and heard your concerns, but I The PAC is the committee that makes recommendations on parking. This is a question about process. I'm not really sure, like, do the selectmen override the PAC, or do we wait and have everything presented as one package from the committee that's been dealing with it for a year or whatever it's been? I don't know.
Where is the PAC at this point?
My understanding is they're working on a report for the board, and they're putting that together to come to the board. I did find the minutes of the January 9th, 2018 meeting where Lonnie talked about the amenities, and I did share that with some of your folks who had emailed me. And so the PAC has another meeting. Steve, do you know when?
The 23rd of this month.
And then they plan to present to the Board of Selectmen. But parking, although the recommendations can come from the PAC, the authority rests solely and exclusively with the Board of Selectmen. So I wouldn't say that the board would trump them, but the board has final authority and oversight of that. So having heard your concerns, not first personally, but the downtown concerns, and then getting the report from the PAC, it would seem reasonable. Then the board would have all the information they needed, and it would make good sense for everyone to be in the same room to continue the discussion.
Oh, well, I took it somewhat that the maps that we got today were the official ones from the PAC.
I
I think
don't,
it's the
That was just
parking
recommendations.
subcommittee.
no, that's
So
just a
that's
draft
the
working
big-
draft, that one there, right?
Wait, one at a time here, so I haven't done this for a while. They're the recommendations of the subcommittee. Does the full PAC want to vote on those, or?
The parking subcommittee made those recommendations to the PAC. The PAC has not made a determination on going forward with that to you guys as yet that I know of. That may be in the final report that you're going to receive later during the month.
I just have a clarifying question. The PAC was meeting every other Monday up until the town went and entered into the lawsuit. And then at that time, did the PAC stop meeting and then resumed meeting after we withdrew from the lawsuit, which was?
April 17th.
Okay. So there was like a gap there. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I just had a question, Steve, maybe you can help me out with what you all are recommending. Is there any way, because you were on the walk today, and I felt like we were kind of on the same page of like, what can we do to, some of the ideas that the PAC had originally thought about, like the parking in front of Sarah's, maybe there should be full-time parking spot, that kind of thing. I don't know. My only concern is that we wait 2 weeks for you all to vote, and then we wait, for the next select board meeting for you to make your presentation to the select board meeting, and by then DOT's coming around the corner and making some decisions about what's happening on Water Street. I feel like we're really getting close on.
We may be getting close, but I don't think we've made the proverbial corner yet up on the Water Street. We've got we got Railroad Avenue. The town has got Railroad Avenue to work on, and from what my understanding of it was, after Railroad Avenue, we was going to make the turn and head up Water Street,
Right.
and then when you get to the end of Water Street, you head up Main Street.
Right.
I honestly do not know when that turn will be made, and I, the only thing I can tell you is, we're going to meet again in 2 weeks, and we're going to have an outline of what we've discussed. And other than that, I really don't have a firm answer, for, where we're going with that. Because I'm kind of at the mercy of the schedule of the project.
All I know, what I heard today, and I don't know, but someone was saying that basically what they've heard from the DOT is that they'll be coming on to Main Street basically right after Labor Day weekend. So, and I don't know whether there's anything, you as a select board and sort of our leadership here, do you feel that it's imperative that we, move forward with making some concrete suggestions or being able to figure out how as a community we can approach DOT with some suggestions before, it's really too late? I'm just asking. I feel
My
like
personal feeling is it's too early.
too early, okay.
I mean, the walk was informative today, but I don't know as I would buy every recommendation that's on there. I was hoping that the state could have been here today and maybe given us a little guidance of what their thinking is, which is really important to know what their
Right.
thinking is.
Sure. Okay.
What is on next week's agenda? Is there much?
Growing all the time. I don't have the whole thing done. It certainly could be on the agenda. It's an important enough item.
But it's
Well,
really,
it is. I mean,
Yeah.
I have no problem listening. And it's always good to listen and share ideas.
right, I think at this point, I feel like this, it's not me, but I think you guys need to sort of figure out as the leadership in the town, like, what are we gonna do? Like, should we sit down and actually, be concrete about what's gonna happen on the side streets or not, or, I don't know, I think you've heard us and you know what our concerns are, and the PAC has been working hard, and they've got input, so, but someone's gotta sort of take the bull by the horns here and just sort of.
Well, the manager told me, we are working, we're trying to set up a meeting with the
Okay.
commissioner of the DOT.
We've been working on that for what, 2 weeks now, or more? And you haven't heard from them?
I did hear.
Oh, good. Progress.
Sure.
In the June 4th letter from Bill Pulver, he makes a statement, if the town wishes to modify the restrictions of the spaces not being impacted at MDOT's direction, that is fine, we just need to know in a timely manner. So they're just asking to be notified as soon as possible. I did receive a call from Bill Pulver today. The reason the state was not present is because they are out of state at a conference. Not because they just didn't show up, and he did call from out of state to make sure that we knew that and to make sure that you folks had the letter. And the commissioner has assured me that when he is back from whatever out-of-state travel he's on, he'll check his calendar and schedule a meeting with the chair and the vice chair as we requested. So I would say, Cordelia, it would be very helpful to the board if you could offer your concrete thoughts. It would be helpful for us to have that to bring to the commissioner.
Okay.
Then we would be sure things in writing are helpful.
Sure.
And so we could present that and be pleased to do that.
Okay, and when do you need that by?
I don't have a date.
Okay, but as soon as possible.
Yeah, as reasonably possible.
So I had sort of a draft, but I can make that, based on everyone's conversation, I can turn that into some bullet points or something.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? If not, we'll move on to item 8, unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business? Okay. 9, new business. Main Yankee Atomic Power Plant, NRC Spent Fuel Storage Security Inspection Report.
So I just wanted to provide this to the board and to the public. We do have a copy of the independent fuel storage inspection. It has been put on the website under supporting documents for those folks that are interested. It appears that they examined it and everything was found to be in order. I wanted to, this is an important item to pay attention to, and they did file this report with us.
You answered my question. Everything is in order. And notice of second amendment to compliance order.
I just had a question. I read through all of these things, and they were somewhat informative. I mean, the areas that they test are good, and they can assume that the areas that they don't test are also good. Do we have any say, or is this just informational for us?
It's informational. If you have any concerns, Eric is always pleased to hear them.
Yeah, I was just curious if they were just sharing this info, or if we had a chance to be like, no, we think you should test.
No, they're federally regulated, so,
Do they inform us when these inspections are going to take place?
yes.
Okay. All right, new business license application for Sarah Castro, doing business as Little Maine Mercantile. You have any background on that?
No, it's going to be a new business on Water Street. We're excited to have a new business in the downtown. And this is just for your information and asking you to approve this first-time business license.
And I noticed it today when we were on our walking tour, and the window looks super cute and very appealing, so it'll be nice. It's in the old general store.
Yeah, I saw this.
Did you see it? It looks
Yeah.
really cute. I don't bring it.
Pete?
Benny, did you go over that notice of the Second Amendment to the compliance order?
I did bring it up, but
I don't know what it is, but did you say anything?
no, I brought it, you're right, I brought it up and we moved to the next issue item. Is there anything to be said on the second notice?
There is a summary page that was attached to the actual DEP notice. And basically what they are asking to do, they're licensed as an interim storage facility, and they're asking to reduce their groundwater monitoring. I compare it to what we go through with our landfill, where we have to have the water quality tested, and as more time goes on and there's no issues, then you try to reduce the number of times that you have to do it. This is just a notice to us. There's a public hearing process that goes on through the DEP, but there's no action that needs to be taken by the board.
Okay. Any other comments on the new business?
Do we have to approve the little control?
Yes.
I make a motion that we approve the license application for this Little Maine Mercantile LLC. I need a second.
I was going to second it, but I still don't think that we should have to vote on such things.
Well, it's in the ordinance for a first-time person.
Well, yes, I know, but
We can
it
certainly
seems to me if they
change it.
jump through all the other hoops, they shouldn't have to jump through this one.
That was my
But I
point.
think the original intent was just to bring it to the public and to the board about a new business, so I think it was meant to be a positive thing.
This
But it
one.
has been so far. All right, all those in favor of the new business license? It is unanimous. Good luck to them, best of luck to them. C, we have a quick claim deed for Eugene Ryder and Jane Ryder. I take it the treasurer attests that all taxes have been paid.
Yes.
It is the pleasure of the board.
We have to take action.
Motion to sign
Oh, I move that we sign the quitclaim deed.
I'll second it.
Do I have to say the names?
Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor? All right, and then the HM pays and the statement of accounts, this is just for the board. Do you get a monthly statement every month from them telling us where we're at?
So no action required.
Very good. Next on the agenda is the town manager's report.
So this evening, we have an unexpected guest. Kristen is here with us, and she, I'm so glad to see you, and was going to bring to the board's attention that Kristen was successful in obtaining her next level, is it called an EMS license? Am I saying it the right way?
advanced emergency medical.
Yes, and to become an advanced EMT. For those of you, most of you know, for those of you that don't know, Kristen dedicates a lot of time to the Wiscasset EMS, and there's a lot of studying and testing that goes into achieving this. So congratulations and thank you.
Where's Kristen's last name? Draper.
And the other thing that I have is, as you know, our harbor master had resigned, and Ray Stoll came in to see me. For those of you that don't, everybody knows Ray, I think, but he's chairman of the planning board. He's been a member of the airport committee. He's kind of a jack of all trades. He has offered to take that position as the harbor master, and I just wanted to know what the board's pleasure was. He has a boat.
I say God bless him.
So then I move that we appoint Ray Stoll harbor
I
master.
will second it.
Any questions or comments? Yes.
I need some clarification. Is the harbor master under the police department or not? It was brought up by you a couple weeks ago, and we didn't get an answer.
I don't think we've made any decisions.
Okay.
I think it'll be a conversation we'll have with the new chief that comes in, whether they want to keep it that way or not, and have that conversation with the board.
So in the interim, is the police administrative assistant still working on those duties?
Yes, yes.
Good question. Does Ray have to do any kind of training?
Yes, I talked to him about the harbor master school that's typically in March or April, and he's willing to go to that training, so.
But that doesn't present a problem in the interim?
No.
Good.
No. And the other thing that I have is,
Oh, wait a minute, we did vote on that, yes, we did. Okay, sorry.
no, that's
Just one other question, did anybody apply for the job?
right.
Just right?
They're not standing in line.
Great question.
I just was curious if there was.
So at a previous Board of Selectmen's meeting, I had brought up about Mr. and Mrs. Ryan bringing us a copy of the 2011 Town Firework Ordinance. And in that ordinance, it required an annual license from the Board of Selectmen, which our records indicate since 2011 we have never done. And so one of the things that we had to work on was the application. And what I'd like to do is this evening just give you the draft one that I've worked on, and then I'll have it as an agenda item for the next board meeting. And feel free to make recommendations of what you'd like to see added or taken off or whatever. And also think about if there's a fee, what you want that fee to be. Because the ordinance says that there's a fee set by the Board of Selectmen. And what I did do on the application is at the very top, I know one of the things that I often find is when I bring something to you, we're trying to find out where in the ordinance it is. So at the very top of it, I put the chapter and verse of the ordinance. So that you know where it is in the ordinance that says what we have to do. So again, there's no action needed tonight. I just wanted to let you know that this is a work in progress and it will be on the next agenda. If you have comments, please get them to me before the meeting so that I can make the changes. That's all I have now.
Do we have any update on the light on High Street, the one that needs to be modified?
I have not talked to Doug about that, then I will. I don't think it's been changed. I was up there the other day and I didn't even notice, I'm embarrassed to say. But I'll check with Doug.
And it must have been changed, because the other one was outrageous. Like, if it hadn't been changed, you would have seen it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
Can we revert back to unfinished business for a minute? At the last meeting, we discussed meeting with the school board to determine how we were going to proceed with payment to the school. Did we set a date for that?
No, we didn't. We said when the new superintendent got on board and stuff, we give them a chance to let.
I think tonight is her first meeting,
Right, to
like
give
right
her a
now.
chance, so we have not set a date for that.
I do think you have a good idea. So this is our first meeting. Do they meet once a month?
So, I mean, I'm happy to facilitate that. We had just obviously said we'd give her an opportunity to have her meeting with her board, and so if you want me to reach out, I would assume probably an August meeting. I don't know that.
Well, I mean, you could reach out and talk to her, and if she's on board, then that takes care of it.
Okay, well then we'll do that then. Okay.
I just wanted to know how to pay for the month of July.
As you always do, nothing's changed, I would say.
Not yet.
Right.
But I would like to have that changed if we're going to change it for the complete fiscal year rather than paying one payment as we've been doing and then try to do it.
She's on board now. Call her tomorrow.
Okay, I will. I'm happy to do that. So what I'm understanding is if we're able to work it out with the school, you'd still like to meet with the school board at an opportunity, but as far as how the payments work. Okay.
If we could get that settled, yes.
Okay, all right. That's fine. And Kim had asked when I was on vacation for all of those emails, and I haven't forgotten that request. I just
Yeah.
haven't got to it
I just
yet.
haven't gotten them.
No, I haven't got them together yet,
Yeah.
so, but I'll have those. Some of them were in a packet.
There was one about, yeah, well, there was an email exchange between Bernice and a contact at DOE.
Right.
And in that email, the DOE contact refers to several attachments that she said she sent to Bernice, that I would like to see. So, just,
I thought they were attached to the email.
they weren't. There was
Okay.
the Title 28 ordinance dealing with the 3%
Well,
over.
that's the state law.
Yeah, that's state law, but not the other. She said, I am attaching current documents that are on file for Wiscasset. Looks like we did accept a vendor form with the superintendent's signature.
Oh, those
Okay.
original vendor forms.
Those,
Okay.
yeah, just whatever they have on file for Wiscasset.
Yeah, and the school has that communication too. They have all that. Just so you know, we're not keeping it as a surprise.
Yeah, no, I just
We
wanted to
shared
see it.
Yeah, I forwarded it on to Shelley.
Yeah,
Yes.
so, okay. I just wanted to know I hadn't forgotten. I just hadn't got to it yet.
You just came back.
I know.
Is this a decision that the board can make on its own?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if everybody's on the same page on that.
Well, we're not making any decisions tonight,
Yeah,
but
not me, but I don't think that, I am not 100% certain that based on what I read in this, and I studied school law and school finance and getting a master's degree in that area, and I'm not 100% sure that we would have the authority to treat the school board as, or the school district as a department of the town without making some,
They're not a district.
They're not a district.
It was never the school department. I just don't know if it's gonna be that cut and dry, that's all. I have questions and I can,
well, I think a good status for the manager to
Yeah.
sit down and talk to the superintendent.
and definitely sit and talk to the school board,
But
yeah.
personally, I think there needs to be some changes made.
Yes.
Going back in the old records, before you folks went into the RSU, previous to that, it was done exactly, you paid the warrants as they came. You didn't make a 1/12 payment to them. Because we did research that, and that happened back in the 80s.
And that's the way most school departments
Right,
are.
our municipal school department, so we did find that, but that's a discussion for
Yeah,
another
and
day.
you're right, we always had the warrant every
Right.
week
Right,
from the school board.
right. So, anyway, I'll get that to you.
Is there any other business to come before the board? Dean?
I should have brought this up at the public comment thing. It's just a quick question, but since we have these two gentlemen here, what's the status of the boat that's laying on the bottom of the harbor?
Still there.
I mean, seriously, I mean, this thing's been sitting there for 6 months now. I know there's a toggle buoy out there on it now. you know, marking it as a hazard or something. Have we, I guess the answer is no, but have we done anything?
No. Well, I shouldn't say we haven't done anything. We reached out to the Coast Guard. Judy Colby said that at the last meeting she called them. I don't believe she's had any communication. Did we summons him or do whatever that?
The Maine Marine Patrol did.
So we did do that.
Yeah.
But beyond that, removing the boat would take the board to say the town was gonna foot the bill and remove the boat. And that's the only other action if we can't get a state agency, unless you have another idea.
No, I'm just.
If you and Bobby have nothing to do, you wanna go in.
But I was just wondering, you know, what we're gonna do with it and how long it's gonna be. I mean, it's, I don't expect you to answer that tonight, but we just gotta, I don't want the thing to, somehow just go away. I wanted it to go away, but the process, you know, we just gotta.
Everybody agrees with you, Steve. Everybody wants.
Because I don't want it to turn around, I don't want it to all of a sudden say, put a sign up somewhere that's, welcome to Maine, if you wanna get rid of your boat, bring it to Wiscasset. And I'm not trying to be funny, but, you know, if we got a boat that's sitting there, you know, and.
Well, that is our history, though.
Well, they were above the water. Those two, except for the winter house, that was below the water line. But anyway, I'm just curious of what, if anything, we're gonna do.
Seriously, I would suggest that you get a hold of the congressional delegation. I don't see why the feds would look the other way. That boat should not be in that waterway, polluting that river. It would seem to me there ought to be some agency between the states and the federal government that would step in and do something about that. I can't imagine they just look the other way.
Well, I can tell you that there's a boat on the way to Barter's Island in Booth Bay that's been exactly that. You know where it is, Steve, it's rotting away as it's tied to the,
Well, I think it's worth at least
I'm happy to do that.
putting it up on their radar.
Do you recall last year, or maybe a couple years ago, there was a picture of a pretty good-sized scallop dragger that was in the Lincoln County News a couple times. It was down at Pemaquid, and they didn't want it there, said it was unsafe, and they moved it, I think, to Bremen, and then they didn't want it there, said it was unsafe, and it ended up somewhere where they didn't have an ordinance, and now that's run up on the shore, I think on Loud's Island, and the Coast Guard walked away from it.
Yeah.
They went and looked at it and determined it was just gonna stay there, and they probably were set there wrong.
I will follow up on that.
But I did have a real question. Did we send a letter to the gentleman who owned the boat, or did we let the Marine Patrol just summons him, and that was our extent of our
I
involvement?
have not sent a letter.
Okay, no, I just,
Chief, we were going to send a letter for the $1,000 bill that we were going to incur, the town was gonna incur if Ted Christie was gonna drop a couple of moorings out there with warning buoys. We went the cheaper route. Dick Forrest assisted us with putting a warning buoy out there for residential boaters to warn them, and that was the cheaper route. He did it for free. He had a buoy and he attached it to the mast.
okay.
So there was
that's
no
fine.
letter sent because there was no bill incurred.
I see, no.
Very good. Is there anything else to come before the board tonight?
I've got a couple of things I'd like to ask
Sure.
about. When we was having that discussion here, I think it was at the last meeting, we was talking about the airport, and Kim, you was gonna research where some of these grants were at, and I think I laughed and said, good luck, I've been trying to do that for years, but did you make any progress?
No, Marion sent me like a 26-page thing that I haven't read yet.
Okay, I don't wanna let that get away, because
No.
I think that's very important that the board and the townspeople should know where we're at on that and the ramifications if we move in one direction or another, what it amounts to. And without knowing the value of the grants, how many are outstanding, and the lifespan of them. You know, you kind of ask people to make intelligent decisions. And I think, you know, it would be nice if we could know a little bit more about that. And one other thing I want to bring up, I'd like to ask the board if we could schedule an executive session with the board to speak with Warren Walsh from CLC and discuss a possible contract. And it would be nice if we did that based on our schedule in here as soon as possible, so that maybe we could have more information to have a more intelligent discussion on it at our next meeting.
Well, I will second that motion.
Can you explain that again? I'm sorry.
That the board, would have an executive session and meet with the director to discuss a possible contract. And that would have to be done in an executive session, obviously. But it would be just nice if we did it as soon as possible, so that we would have information for the discussion at our next meeting.
Our next meeting in
Which would
July
be
17th?
17th, yeah.
I could only do it on Monday. I thought at July 17th meeting, we were going to talk about whether we wanted to have that kind of conversation. I don't know.
Well, we've been conversing off and on, right?
Right, and, you know,
Way back.
without having that discussion, I don't think we have the information that we need to have an intelligent conversation about it.
And I think it would also be more appropriate in an executive session where no decisions are made. We just discuss it with the questions we have with a specific person, Mr. Walsh, so that we can get the answers to the questions that Bob and members of the public have. And once we get all of that squared away, we will have more information, or all of the information we need to talk about in public, rather than talking and asking Mr. Walsh questions in public with people in the audience asking him questions too. Anyway, I just think it's a better way to handle it personally.
I am going to vote for the motion, but I'd like to ask the manager, right now we do not have an ambulance director per se. Do you have any thoughts of your own as to how you want to proceed
I do.
in the immediate future?
I do.
Would you rather wait till executive session to share those, or?
No, I haven't made any secret of my thoughts. I said it publicly. I think the newspaper even quoted me. I would like to explore. I've had several conversations with Booth Bay about how they run their service, which is larger than ours. They have 4 ambulances. And I don't have all the details. I've just been talking back and forth with them about one of the ways, and this is a cost savings measure that I'm exploring, among other things, is that you don't have a director per se, that you have someone that works like everyone else works, and then you pay a stipend for the administrative part of it. And that's if the board should choose not to continue exploring combining with CLC. And the other, I actually had a nice conversation today with a member of the Wiscasset EMS who actually asked me, would we consider giving them the opportunity to explore becoming their own 501(c) and staying, I'll just say for discussion purposes, Wiscasset Ambulance, but as its own entity, how CLC is set up and how Booth Bay is set up. And so this was the first time we had this conversation today. And so those are, I guess, 3 options on the table: to go with CLC, to not hire a director, or to give the folks the opportunity. And this was just a conversation with someone that works at the Ambulance Association that had talked about talking to Woolwich, talking about us here, talking about Dresden, to see if they could create what other organizations have. It was only a conversation, I haven't had time to explore any of the details on it, but, so I think we have 3 options before us. So, I will say, you know, not trying to put any pressure on the board, but from my perspective, I need a direction. I need to know which way we're going to go. I think it's, so that I know whether I'm gonna look at a stipend position, and if so, how much, and get all of those details worked out, or if you want to go forward with CLC. I agree with Bob, I don't think at this time, we have not had any contract conversations with CLC. We've had a lot of big picture, broad conversations. So I don't think you have enough information at this point to be able to decide whether or not to go with CLC, but that's just my opinion.
No, we don't, which is why I asked what the other options were. We sort of need to see all 3.
Yeah, and those are, you know, like I say, one just talked about today, but.
I mean, we all have some idea how the present, how it was operating presently.
And I will tell you.
How these options might change that.
Yeah, and I will tell you, you guys all looked at the payroll. You can see that we have staffing issues. We paid a lot of overtime this week. I know you saw that in the payroll this week. That's not something that we can sustain for a long period of time budget-wise, or for the good health of our folks that do the work. They have been amazing to step up to the plate to make sure that everything has been covered. So I think it would be disingenuous to those folks that have been committed to it to not explore all 3 of the options. And I agree with Bob, we don't have enough information at this point.
I'd also like to add that many members of the public have expressed here and also in the Safety Advisory Committee that they want to have an in-house ambulance. So we definitely need to explore those options.
And then I would need to know what the rationale for an executive session in this particular case would be.
Yeah, it's for contract negotiations. I can get you the MRS or whatever statute.
We would need that.
Yeah, we talked to legal counsel to make sure that we could do it, and we do have that. We're going to enter into contract negotiations.
But it's not like we're entering into a contract with them.
We would not take any action in executive session. But if you want to, and I'm just saying, if the board chose to, next week talk about what a contract would look like, you need to have that contract hammered out in advance, unless you were going to make the decision that that was no longer an option on the table, and that's certainly at the board's discretion to do that.
No, I mean, I want to see all the options and weigh them out. And as I've said, if we want to go down a different road, I would like to put it over Houseby. And there's no rush on this. We want to look into it and see what is the best. When they met with us a month or 2 ago, I thought there were some good things in it. But I'm not ready to make that switch. And if there are other options that might work, then I don't know. So we've got time to look into all of them. I guess we will leave it to the manager to set up the executive session. I'm pretty much available anytime right now.
You're only available.
I know.
May I ask a
Yes,
question?
you certainly may.
In regards to the switching from the Wiscasset ambulance service to another private, would that have to go before the voters, or would you folks decide to do that?
Okay. My personal feeling is I would put it before the voters.
Would there have to be an RFP for that process?
Well, no, the question to the voters would be whether or not they want to privatize the service. That would be
Before
the
you
question.
even ask, I mean, before you have enough information, I mean, to get proposals, would it not have to go to a public bidding process?
We wouldn't do that unless we had permission for the voters to make that change. And those are premature conversations anyway.
So you can't possibly be entering contract negotiations.
The board has the authority to make decisions on the operations of the town of Wiscasset. That's what they're elected to do, and they have the authority to do that. they may choose to take it to town meeting, but there's no legal requirement that they do so.
Yes, Constance.
Thank you for considering it. And there are other options, as you mentioned, about the members owning it. But I wondered if our new graduate, did you, having worked on the ambulance, have any input?
At this time, I reserve comment.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a question about a comment the town manager made, if I could ask a question. For several months, we've been under a hiring freeze, and due to the payroll and the number of hours that members are working, has the hiring freeze been alleviated?
When was their hiring freeze?
I believe it came, I thought it came from you in April.
No, there was a directive to all departments to watch their budgets and not to overdraft their budgets, but I don't think there was a hiring freeze. I think you guys just hired 2 new people, so I don't know how that could be true.
One person that was hired didn't incur any cost because the physical had been done for another place in the past year, so that was able to be used, so it didn't incur any costs. So that's why I was curious.
It was a directive given to all departments, not specific to EMS, because we were coming to year end.
It wasn't specifically about hiring.
Right, it was
just
about
watch your
not
bottom
over
line.
to watch your bottom line, because I don't have the authority to say that EMS can overrun their budget. That only town meeting can do that. So, but that went to all departments, not just EMS. So I'm not sure what you're referring to.
So she can put up the help wanted sign?
They have, actually, they have one on the MMA website, it's up there. So if there was a hiring freeze, I'm not sure why that would have been up there. I'm not sure, I don't know who gave you that information.
Any other questions or comments on board? Kim?
So, at the last meeting, the Conservation Commission talked about the bridge to White's Island. And one of the last things that we talked about was removing like 10 feet of the planking on the bridge so that people can't get on it. Has anything happened with that?
No, I think that there were some folks that were looking into if we remove that, does that jeopardize our permitting process for the future?
Not the whole bridge, but just those 10 feet.
Right, but if you remove that, and I don't know if we have the answer back on that.
I know we did it, Conservation Committee. did
No,
it.
but I know that the question got sent to the DEP. So I haven't seen the answer yet. But we haven't removed the 10 feet, but you probably don't know, right?
I still want anyone to get hurt.
Sure.
That's all.
It's posted, right? The signs are still up, right?
Well, it's always been posted, but it's
Right.
still, people don't read, number one, and refuse to adhere to those warnings.
And are we summoning those people that we find out there?
If we see them
Okay.
actually on the bridge, when we see them, they're already on the flats, and we have no proof to say that they made it
They're all
over.
flat.
Yeah. Well, still, he's got to catch them.
And I'm not walking.
Oh, come on.
Any other questions or comments for the board? And if not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you, everybody.